is what it is, what it's always gonna be. Now we cruising. I feel like we finding our mode, we finding our groove. So tonight's episode is about I don't know. I guess I guess I fall in this lane. I fall in this category now. It's one of those social media personalities who offer explicit advice, you know, explicit because I sometimes don't always tell you what you need to hear, but I'm gonna tell you what you should hear and you should listen because I've probably been down that road before. So let's get it cracking. Why I chose this episode and the direction for this episode is simple. When I first came into the podcast game, I started podcasting uh with uh with Vito and Ali. Shout out to them. Um and it didn't end the smoothest of ways. It really didn't. It ended bogusly. So um I knew like I was dope. And at the time there was no vision for them to see this dopeness over there. So I went ahead on and went on my own path. And it was a journey, a struggle, getting help and getting people to buy in and getting people to, come through and show love and respect to what we were trying to do with our previous podcast, Bet the House. All episodes are still, whether you listen to podcasts, that those are still around, over 300 plus, might I add. And it was really hard um getting that vision to come to light. So I knew, like, with me, when I got a name big enough as far as this underground podcast was concerned, that I would never shut doors and turn down and turn down my hand to helping up and coming podcasters and things like that. I had some dope relationships on the way, man, because a lot of them paved the way for what we were trying to do. I came over from music. I started with music, you know. So this episode hit close to home because it's so funny that everybody is out here offering advice and things of that nature. And a lot of times it be unsolicited, like we don't be asking for that shit. And I've seen both sides of the fence because when I came in the game, it was a lot different. We were in the middle of COVID. Everybody was trying to start podcasts. Everybody was podcasting. And so Smash had the idea that we were going to turn this upside down and we were going to, start helping and building bridges and bringing people together. And so I had this thing called the list. And I'm going to tell y'all why the list is so important for tonight's episode. I had this thing called the list. And that was basically me paying homage to, it started off 100, you know what I'm saying? No, 50. It started off with 50. And it was just because at that time I was working a night shift. Wasn't shit to do but listen to podcasters because I wanted to study the game. I wanted to get better. And I just wanted to see what all was out there. And I would listen to a lot of these podcasters back then. And I thought a lot of them were dope. There were a lot of unpolished, but that had potential. There were a lot of them that I felt like, yeah, I could add my expertise to what they're doing. And there was really just a lot. It was a lot of moving parts with that list. And I love doing that list. And I ain't gonna lie, I ruffled some feathers because a lot of people appreciated it. Shout out to the ones that took heed and were grateful that, someone like me, and I'm, like I said, I'm a big deal in this podcast underground game. I don't care whether you like me or you don't like me. You can't take away the work that I done put in and the people I done helped and the guest appearances and you can't take that away from me. I did that. Okay. I did that. I done worked with over 200 and some different podcasters in some way, shape, or form. So I did that. You know what I'm saying? I did that. You know, and a lot of times, a lot of people was accepting. A lot of people fucked with it. But then there were a lot of people that were like, who the fuck do this nigga think he is? Like, who do we think he is to come over here and critique my show? Or, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. So it was one of those things where the list was important, and it went from 50 and it went from me doing 50 to me doing the top 25 to me doing the top 10, because I ain't gonna lie, I buckled under pressure, because again, they were like, man, who the fuck is you? Who are you to come over here and try to tell me what we need? Because that's what I was doing in some cases. Now, I had a lot of people reach out to me and that were trying to get up with me and see, you know, pick my brain about things. But a lot of times you can call that unsolicited advice, because I would literally hop in people's DMs and be like, hey, yo, I want to work with you. And then I get on their shit and take over their shit, because I just felt like, yeah, you need a little bit of polish. You need a little bit of that smash rub, you know, and that's what I called it. It was called the smash rub. It was my way of laying hands on your show. Sensually, but you know, in a podcast way. You know, I'm laying hands on your show. I'm giving your show a spice. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I essentially became one of those people that I despise right now. I became that. And so it's easy now that I switched over to the other side, because when I look back at what I was back then, man, I was an unsolicited advisor. Real talk. I was an unsolicited advisor. Like, I did a lot of good, but then you know that list probably stirred up the pot. A lot of people felt some type of way, and there was a lot of sneak dissing, and there was a lot of subliminals, and there was a lot of discredit. People hated the big smash rub, but they couldn't deny the results. They couldn't deny, you know, the smash tree. And I'm gonna get more into that later. But they couldn't deny the greatness that Big Smash was. And a lot of times they tried their best to take that away and you know, try to diminish everything that I had done for the game. But you can't knock away greatness. All right, I'm on my way. And I feel like the only way I'm ever really gonna get there is if I just keep pushing and I keep progressing and I stop listening to the outside noise. Hate it. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. They hate it. They hated Smash. They hated what Smash was becoming. They hated that shit. And a lot of that shit came from just, again, me offering advice. And there was a lot of people that didn't like it. They didn't like that, you know, I'm letting them know that their shit wasn't as perfect as they thought it was. Again, you had them people like, ah, man, who the fuck he think he is? You know what I'm saying? Who the fuck do this nigga think he is? Type shit. And it was tough. It was tough hearing that. Sometimes, you know, I had those deep conversations with a couple of my peers, and they really just didn't understand my angle. And I don't think it was so much the message. I think it was the delivery. You know what I'm saying? And I ran through a lot of people who appreciated it but didn't really understand it. You know, just didn't understand Smash because of the way Smash was. I was brash, I was bold, I was braggadocious, I was a little bit over the top sometimes. I was ridiculously loud at that point. So you go through this motion where they're like, damn, what did you do? I ain't gonna lie. I stopped fucking with a lot of people off the strength of the list ending. Like, I took it as disrespect. And I know they like, damn, how you offering advice? You doing something that nobody asked you to do, but you take it as slight, you take it as disrespect. I do because I'm not the Derrick Jacksons and the Ace Metaphors and all them other niggas out here who was looking for a quick buck, who was looking just for likes and clicks. I wasn't that. I was actually out here trying to do some good, trying to help people, trying to build things up, trying to build communities, trying to get us all on one accord. So when I started, backing off and seeing what the game was becoming, the game was a bunch of, backstabbing, subliminals, a lot of people not really in it. A lot of people, there was times that I just felt like, yeah, now I understand. I understand, okay, how the game is working now. I understand that there's a lot of things that go on that you can't really change. See, people change, and then a lot of people don't like change. And I became something. I became one of those dudes that I despise. But the only difference between me and them is I'm gonna keep it a buck, whether you want to hear what I gotta say or not. The reason why I do podcasts like this, I'll explain all this later. This is the reason why I do podcasts like this, because I have a story. I've been through where a lot of people are trying to get to. I've been through it. I've been there. So it's easy for me to get in my own bag and get in my own pocket and my own lane and try to reach out and help the next one. Reach one, teach one is what they say in the old school. So when I came through and I see how all fake and ungenuine these motherfuckers out here are, and they just looking for a quick buck, and they looking for likes and clicks and popularity. There's no authenticity behind it. A lot of these people are getting on this microphone and saying, well, hey, you should do this, and your relationship is this, and this is how you do this, and they don't live by it. I was that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was that at early on in my podcasting lifespan. I was that. I ain't gonna flex. I was out here um acting like my shit didn't stink, acting like I was the most perfectest dude that ever walked this earth, and yet I was flawed. So eventually, like I said, I became one of them. This is true. I was one of them. I had the portrayal of just saying everything that I wanted to say when I wanted to say it, how I wanted to say it, and wasn't nobody gonna stop me. Wasn't nobody gonna tell me different. And I think that's why people gravitated to Big Smash, because he said what the fuck he wanted to. He said the truth. There's a lot of stories and a lot of things that I've said, and a lot of people be like, damn, he lying. But would I go the extreme route of telling you these stories without the risk of embarrassment? No. Why the fuck would I do that? What separated me when I got in this game was I wanted to be authentic. I wanted to be honest. I wanted to be someone that just laid it all out on the table. I've cried on episodes before. So goddamn well, I don't give no fuck about being unfiltered. I'm not politically correct at all. Even now, even in this aspect, this phase of what I'm doing right now, I'm not politically correct at all. I'm still gonna tell you what the fuck I want to tell you. Whether you listen to it or not, that's simply on you. But you got family, you've got friends, you got naysayers, you got doubters, you got everybody adding their 2 cents to what you're trying to do in life. And the truth be honest, a lot of that shit will help, but you just gotta have the mindset to accept that shit. A lot of people wasn't. A lot of people wasn't ready to accept um Big Smash. Even now, I still get people that, try to doubt everything that I'm trying to do. They try to doubt it. But the truth be told, you can't. And I say this with love and respect for every podcast that I've ever associated with. Like, I appreciate y'all. Y'all pulled up to my table. We ate good. And then I turned around and pulled up to y'all table and we ate good. That's what it's about. It ain't about just pulling up to my table, picking what you want off your table, off my table. It ain't about just picking what you want off my table and then go ahead on about to your table. You have to reciprocate over here with me, and this is where I stopped following through. I stopped asking for advice. I stopped giving advice. I kind of shut everything out. I got maybe 2 or 3 people that I really rely on for advice when it comes to podcasting. And then the stuff that they teach me, I go teach it to people that actually want to learn. You know what I'm saying? Um, Shout out to the Mike Thomases in the world. Shout out to the the Raws and the DCs and the Booms and the King Germs and Dolly and Cool Out Corner and Jay Christian and um my man Mind Triggers over there, my people over there at Mind Triggers, and shout out to Timo and all of them. Shout out to all the podcasters out here that I've ever interacted with, CL and um Tara Michelle and Jared Flan. And shout out to Flan and everybody else, man. My girl Dre Mo. You know, she don't podcast anymore, but shout out to her, man. I've seen so many, and if I don't name you, it ain't, charge it to my mind and not my heart, because again, over 200 and something podcasters, and you start building fabrics and relationships and things like that, because you move at a different pace. My man's Styles and everybody, man, that just, like I said, 12 Cal and Baylor and Chamby Podden and Rodis, and you see these people, and you actually feel like, damn, these motherfuckers make you want to step your fucking game up. You know what I'm saying? You run into them type of people who have it more together than you, and you're not afraid to approach them. I was never afraid to pick any of my colleagues' brains when it came to podcasting. I was never afraid to do that, because I know what it was like to get shut down and not know all the answers and how to figure things out, because people was too much into their own mind that they didn't want to help, they didn't want to build, they didn't want to show love, they felt like you was gonna pass them. Well, all the people that I just named, them was helpful people. Those were the people that dealt with Big Smash and dealt with me through the good and the bad. Shout out to Just Red, shout out to DLP, shout out to my boy J Day, shout out to Della Faye, shout out to my man Bailey, shout out to my ex. Like, at the same time, I can't sit here and take credit for everything, because at the end of the day, I had help. A lot of times people just throw their advice, throw their weight on you, and expect you to be able to shoulder that load. Sometimes you want to play strong and you want to be big man and big woman and act like you can do this shit, but then a lot of times it can't. I'm gonna tell y'all like this, and this is just my opinion: 60% of the podcast game is fake. Oh, did he just say? Yes, 60% of this podcast game is fake. I can't speak on the industry, but I can speak on the underground and tell you 60% of these motherfuckers don't be out here practicing what they preach. At one point, Big Smash was a part of that 60%, but I elevated, because I felt like, even though I'm so real and genuine, once I turned this microphone off, I probably didn't adhere to about maybe 20% of what I was on here saying. That's at the house, that's guest appearances, that's about marriage, that's about love, it's about struggles, all that shit. I ain't really live by that shit 20% of the time. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna get on here and act like everything that I've ever said was all truthful when it came to love and how you should move and how you should, do all that. I ain't gonna sit here and tell them lies, because then I'll become one of them that'll say everything just to get a like and a click. That's not how I move, and that's not how I'm gonna move. So, I don't move that way. And I'm not going to move that way. So at the end of the day, a lot of times people just just I don't move that way. I don't. And I would hate to be one of those people that move that way just for your likes and your clicks and your support. That's never gonna be the way that I move. Now, granted, like I said, 60% of the game is fake. But then the other 40%, you got some real people out here that are really pouring their heart and their soul into this game. And a lot of times don't get the credit that they deserve. And, this podcast game is a thankless game. Like, they don't thank us for this shit. So if you ain't thanking me for it, then why the hell do I have to wait for you to ask me for any of the game and the process and all this that I'm spitting? Because you ain't thanking me for it no way. So in all actuality, I'm going to do the shit that I want to do because I want to do it. And that's just where I'm at with it. It's a balance. I'm going to move how I want to move, but also if I take the time to give you knowledge, and it's truthful knowledge, run with it. It's that simple. Run with it. I promise you, you'll be more ahead of the curve than anything and anybody that you've been around, because Big Smash, one thing about me, I'm always going to tell you the truth. I ain't going to sugarcoat. You got a lot of people out here who just be offering their 2 cents and you ain't even asking for it. But because of they felt like where they came from and what they've done and how they've moved and what they've accomplished, they're always going to add, well, you should live your life like this, and you should do that, and you should go here, and you should act like this, and he, and take it from me because I've been here. I remember being that podcaster. Now, I tell you all the time, my job ain't to put your relationships back together. I will never do that. I will give you my advice. I will give you my explanation as to why I moved the way that I moved. But I will never tell you, oh, yeah, listen to me, and we going to put your relationship back together. Your girl's going to run back. Your guy's going to run back. I've never been that. I've always tried to stir people away from doing what I've done back in the day. I used to do a lot of stupid shit. And, it's funny because when I came into this game, I had a whole game plan. I felt like I knew everything. I felt like I was a true guru. And then I start seeing these fake ass niggas, man, who get on this microphone and spit this dumbass shit. It was once a nigga, and this is how I knew how fake the game was, man. When it was niggas out here selling other podcasters dreams and telling them, well, hey, I do this and I do that, and you can work with me. And then when I found out that all that was a bunch of bullshit, this is when I was like, yeah, I don't never want to be him. I don't ever want to be him. I don't ever want to be out here buying followers and buying views and buying bots and all that shit and then running around like I was top dog. I don't want to be them. I don't want to sit here and get on the microphone and act like I've never made a mistake outside of it, but then get on here and act like I'm so perfect. I've never wanted to be that. But I have had a tad bit of foot in the water when it came to that, because again, I was out here living the life like I was so happy, and truth be told, I was miserable. There was a lot going on. Hell yeah. And then you balance it out because again, like I said, in this game, there's over a million trillion different podcasters. You know what I'm saying? So you have a lot of people who are not moving the way that they're moving. They're not moving the way that they're moving because they feel like they're trying to fit in, they're trying to be somebody else. Again, Derrick Jackson, bitch ass, was a prime example of what you shouldn't do. I mean, he had you women eating out the palm of his hand, telling y'all all this sucker ass shit. To the real niggas, we already knew this nigga was lying. But he was eating, he had a lane. I'm gonna get all the women on my side. Once I do that, then I can sell them whatever dream I want. And that shit worked. Kevin Samuels. Same goddamn way. In they mind frame to they fans, they was as really shit. But whole time, them niggas was not living the lives that they was out here portraying to be once they turned their microphone on. They was so perfect and loving. We all know my history. Well, to the new followers, you don't know my history, but my history is I am a man that has made many mistakes when it came to podcasting, when it came to life, when it came to fatherhood, when it came to women, when it came to money. I made a lot of mistakes. And I'm just not now really just starting to get it. I'm just starting to get it. It's starting to make sense for me now. If you ask me in 2021, 22, I'd have told you that I was the man. 2020, I was beefing with everybody and I was moving how I wanted to move and couldn't nobody tell me nothing. They couldn't stop me. They couldn't run. They couldn't jump. They couldn't hop. They couldn't skip without Big Smash approval. That's how I was moving. I swear to you, I had this game on lock like that. When I came out with the list, we was the end all be all. It was people jumping in my inbox. Smash, man, check this out. This gonna be one of those. This gonna be dope. This gonna be one of those. I'm telling you, this gonna be the one. I had DMs like that. Then I had people, hey man, look, man, I don't care what nobody else talking about, man. This list really motivated me to get better. Thank you, blah blah blah, this and that. So, it made me feel good, and that's what made me want to keep going with the list anyway. Because there was times that I wanted to quit. I didn't want to do the list no more because niggas was straight hating. Then you had niggas out here who were duplicating what I was doing, trying to make it their own, put their own spin to it. It was a lot of bitch ass niggas out here, man, that was doing a lot of bitch ass shit, trying to take my blueprint and run with it. But you can't copy authenticity. And that's what I was trying to bring to the table. So now they like, damn, Smash, what changed? Why you on this side now? It used to be fuck these bitches and you don't love these hoes and da 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 and all this. I'll tell you why I went to this side of the lane. I wanted growth. The game needed changing. And I felt like I was going to be the one to change it. The game needed to be fixed. The game needed a facelift. Who better to do that than me? I had went through a lot of hell, lost a lot of homies, lost relationships, all of that. The game needed a facelift. Who better than me to change this shit up? Who better than me to bring change? I once had a saying, you can't grow if you don't grow. And that means you don't grow, you don't move to better heights, then you will forever peak at the bottom. I'm not a bottom peaker. I didn't want to be no other podcaster but me. Straight up. I didn't want to be nobody else. I admired the game and I admired the work that came with it. But when I did that list, when I was doing the list, I did it because I wanted to show love. And was that message received all the time? Fuck no. But a lot of them niggas that I was out here trying to fit in with and be close to was bitch made. I ain't gonna hold you. A lot of your favorite podcasts that you listen to don't really be on what they be on, and I can't respect that. I wanted to be different. My message was simple. If your podcast was trash, I wanted to help you build up and build to it. But then you look at it and you offer pointers and you offer tips and motherfuckers still gonna do the shit that they want to do. You know what I'm saying? They were still gonna move how the fuck they want to move. I done listened to a lot of trash ass podcasters. And I done had people come off and tell me my shit was trash. So it works both ways. But at the end of the day, when you put in the work and you love the craft and you love what you're doing, your work is gonna show. I was pulling a lot of motherfuckers' cards back in them days, and a lot of them niggas was trash. And I ain't saying that to be disrespectful. I'm just saying that to be real. The game was diluted, full of trash. And I would listen because these was my homies. I liked you as a person. Fuck the art. I liked you as a person. But I've had conversations with a lot of my homies, my podcast homies, and told them, hey, man, this shit trash. And I've had them conversations, you know, where, man, you know, my boy always say, man, Bet the House was a parody of a podcast. And I ain't gonna lie, it hurt hearing that shit. But again, that was one person opinion who I hold near and dear to opinion hold weight. But at the end of the day, we knew the kind of work that we were trying to do. So we didn't let the naysayers bull. But again, this is unsolicited advice. A lot of them times I use that shit as motivation. Like, oh yeah, this shit sucked. Bet. And this how a lot of people was carrying the list. Oh damn, I'm number 16. Get the fuck out of here. Let me check this list and see who ahead of me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was. I think I motivated a lot of niggas to get up and do they thing. Get up and grind and get up and grind and do their thing and work hard and build and grow, and elevate. And a lot of times they wasn't ready. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't ready. They wasn't skilled enough to step in the ring with Big Smash. And that's why I got them in and got them the fuck up out of there. So every time that they felt like, yeah, we going to try to tear him down, man, I tore that shit down myself and went and built something even bigger every single time. You can't stop greatness. I ain't never been one to turn down advice or help, you know, but then a lot of times people just tell you what you should be doing with your life, how you should be moving, what you should be doing. But what I learned is experience is the best teacher. You could teach me everything under the sun, but if I don't get out there and learn that shit myself, how will I know what you're saying is true? How will I know how you're feeling and how you're moving and what you went through works for me? No, they say that, you know, you go touch a hot stove, your hand gonna get burned. I've touched a hot stove several times and did not get burned because it was all about how quick you took your hand right off of it. There was some times that I did get burned, but there was a lot of times that I did not get burned. So when you're dealing with people who always have something to say about your life, once you press record, once you press publish, once you record music, once you shoot a movie, once you draw some art, once you open up a business, you are opening yourself up to be critiqued. Will you always agree with that? No. But you are opening yourself up to that. Because again, you're putting out something to the world. So everybody's going to have an opinion. That's just life. And like I said, it's all subjective. It's all subjective. But if your shit is trash, your shit is trash. And if somebody is your friend and they're trying to help you, you should listen. It be subjective sometimes. I'm a grinder. I've always put in the work. Now, whether you like the product or not, you can't deny the work that I've put in. You can't deny how many people I've helped, how many people I've put together. You can't deny that. You can't deny how much networking I've done over the years. You can't deny that. It's all about hard work. I started in this music game. I came up under, you know, a lot of people that are out here killing the game when it comes to this music shit. I came up under, you know, Boss Jones. I came up under Revo. I came up under Kennedy. I came up under Beads. I came up under Con P. I came up under Tez. And you know, I came up under these niggas because I was a student of the game. I wanted to learn. And that's what I passed on to everybody else that came up under me. See, we all ate at my table. And then eventually they got where they was getting to. And now I'm able to get invited over to their table. And whether your table is a big table, a small table, whether it's a tray table, whatever, I'm gonna sit at that table with you because that's who I am. I'm a man that will sit at that table with you, and I won't judge you. We gonna figure out how to get that table bigger. We gonna figure it out. Will I always ask if you want my opinion? No. But there will be times that I will definitely ask you, hey man, you want to know what I think? Or a lot of times I sit in the cut and wait until you ask me what I think. I had a conversation before we get ready to wrap this up. And somebody told me it's not how you say things sometimes. It's what you say. But then they'll turn around and also say, sometimes it ain't what you say, it's how you say it. So sometimes it's a mixed bag with me. Like I be meaning well. When I get on this microphone, I be meaning well. When I did the list, I was meaning well. We was doing the podcast debates, I was meaning well. We was doing the music battles, I was meaning well. This was my way of trying to keep people together, man. That's all it was. When you fucking up, I'ma tell you. When you're not doing your job, I'ma tell you. When you're doing and saying dumb shit and moving in the way that grown ass men or grown ass women or even kids coming up in this world moving, I'm going to tell you. It is what it is. Don't take my advice. I don't care. And like Smash used to be just this shit talking braggadocious ass dude. Yeah. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, absolutely. Because I felt like I had earned my stripes. I felt like I could do that. I did. I ain't gonna hold you. I felt like I could do that. It took me a while to realize that, so again, the message. You might have a strong ass message, but if you're not delivering it properly, who's gonna listen? That's what I'll explain all this later is. It's me starting back over, hitting the reset button and hoping that you guys will take in everything that I'm trying to say without feeling offended or feeling like I'm disrespecting you, because I'm not. But we're gonna call a spade over here, man. I ain't here to coddle you. I ain't here to tell you, oh man, you're so great and you're the best. And you're no. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you at all times, whether you accept it or not. But I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I'm still a dude who has a lot of learning to do, but I've learned a lot and I can pass that down. So the big smash rub is still a thing. I just select who I want to lay hands on, metaphorically speaking. Listen, y'all already know what it is with me. Next episode, I'm getting in my bag. Next episode, right? It's for all the lovers out there. Next episode, Bet the House alumni, Big Smash. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get back. I got some really, really dope things in the can. Next episode. Next episode is called You Can Have Whatever You Like. And you guessed it. We going back to the relationship aspect. I'm taking it back. I'm going back Bet the House style for one night only on I'll Explain All This Later podcast. And we're gonna talk about it. I appreciate y'all. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Get at me. If you want to guest appear with your boy, come on with it. I welcome everybody. You just got to be able to keep up because I don't slow down when it comes to this podcast and shit. Until next time, y'all already know what it is. I'm out.